Hello everybody, I hope you're having a lovely midterm. A lot of you will probably see this little video over midterm, and basically what it is I am going to do a video running through the marking scheme for your junior cert woodwork mock paper. Couple of things before I start. Why am I doing this video is purely because you basically have 3 months until your junior cert, until you set your junior cert. We have until April, probably the end of March. We have about a month to do our projects. Some of you are nearly finished your projects. Some of you have barely started your projects. So depending on what you want out of this subject, it is up to you what you put into it. Okay? You have me 2 times a week, that's 2 hours, and for one of the classes that will see this, I only have you once a week, and Mr. Heaslip has you once a week. So it's very, very important that when you come back after midterm, you put your head down, nothing else matters at this stage, you're focusing on your junior cert. Okay? You have 3 months. The reason also why I want to do this video is because next week I am going to give you your mock papers back, and I want you to sit down at home with your parents and I want you to go through this video. I'm going to go through step by step exactly what's expected. You'll be able to look up the question and the sample answers, the marking scheme that the state examinations have given, and you will also be able to look at your answers. And you'll see how many marks you're missing and how could you improve on that, okay? The reason why I'm doing this in video form is purely so you can look back on it, but also because we simply don't have time in class at the minute. Between trying to get the portfolios done and the projects done, we are under pressure, okay? I want these tests signed by your parents, and I want your parents to sign on the test if they went through the video with you, or it could be an older sibling maybe that did woodwork as a junior cert subject. That's perfectly fine as well, or an auntie or uncle guardian. Okay, so to start, by the way, just before I start, some of the results of this mock paper were absolutely excellent, and it's very, very clear to see who has been using the revision notes that have been on Teams since November and who has not. One question in particular, I think there was 2 students wrote on the top of the question 2 was the lathes, and we didn't cover the lathe, all the rest of it. Regardless of COVID or in isolation, there's only one lathe in a woodwork room. Not every student before they start the junior cert will actually use the lathe. Because you've had COVID, to be quite honest with you, if you write "we did not cover the lathe" on the top of the question in June, the examiner isn't going to care. You all have to be independent learners here. The resources are there, the PowerPoints are there, the notes are there. You should be making out your notes. It's clear to see who has and who hasn't. If you haven't made out your notes using the PowerPoints that I've given, you're not going to do very well in this subject. You simply can't learn from just what you do in the classroom. You need to back that up with theory. Okay? Anyway, to start off, a breakdown of the questions. Question 1 was all to do with materials, tools and safety. Question 2 was a design task, the lathe and then possible finishes. Question 3 was seasoning and manufacturing boards. Question 4 was trays and conversion. And question 5 was carving, tracing and wood joints. So to start off, what I'm going to do is I'll show you the question first of all, just so that you can reference back, and then I will show you the marking scheme. So question 1, the image shows a toy car made from wood. So this is the little image of the toy car. Give 2 reasons why wood is suitable material to make this toy. So if you look at the marking scheme here, why would wood be a suitable material to make a toy car? It's attractive, it would be strong, so I'll zoom in a wee bit. It would be attractive, it's strong, Easy to work with. It's hard. Obviously wood's a harder material than if it was plastic. You know what kids are like. Sometimes they might throw it, it might fall down the stairs. If it's made out of plastic, the likelihood of it breaking is very high. If it's made out of wood, it will be able to withstand that. And then also wear and tear. Okay? So if you put down any two of those, you got 4 marks each, and that was 8 marks. Okay, so that's a lot of marks for just one word. Okay? A lot of people did very well in that question. Part B. Name and sketch one tool that will be used to mark out the tool shown. The key word there is mark out. Okay? That is your tri-squares, your marking gauges. Okay? Any of those, if you wrote the name of the tool in here and then a little sketch, a lot of people do very well in this question. So, their answers are tri-square, marking gauge, ... Now, some people wrote a ruler or a steel rule. Technically that is correct. There was 3 marks going for that, and the sketch was worth 8 marks. Now, some people did 2D sketches for your junior cert. It's woodwork, it's a design subject. You are expected to sketch in 3D. Okay? And if you add colour, that adds to your presentation of your answer, so you will get more marks. 8 marks going for that. If you give me a simple sketch that maybe wasn't using straight lines or a ruler to do your sketch, or if it was just rushed, you maybe got a maximum of 5. If you put a lot of effort in, though it is 3D or it was coloured, you got the full 8 marks. Part C. Now, all to do with the tools. A saw must be selected to cut out the curves on the toy car. State the correct name for each of the saws labelled A, B and C below. So, tool A, a tenon saw. Okay, so this is this one here. Tool B was a coping saw, and tool C was a dovetail saw. So, tool A and B you are all so familiar with. Okay, you use them nearly every class in the workshop, and a lot of you are using these tools to create your projects. Tool C, we only have a couple of them in the department. You mightn't have seen them as much, but again, that's where it comes back to. You need to be backing up your practice with the theory, okay? You're all at the age now that you need to be going home, whether you have woodwork, you need to be doing out a study timetable, and you need to be spending at least 2 to 3 hours per week studying and writing out notes to do your revision for this subject. And that's across the board, okay? Your weekends aren't free anymore. You need to be taking that time to study. Yes, take maybe one day off, maybe whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. You have a half day on a Friday. You don't have that anymore. That's study time. Okay, you have 3 months to your junior cert. Part 2 of C. Recommend a preferred saw from above to cut the curves and give a reason for your answer. So the recommendation for cutting the curves out of these 3 saws, well, it would be quite clearly to see that it is saw B, and that is the coping saw, because you won't be able to see the way this is hollow here and there's a space. You won't be able to cut a curve with this, and you certainly won't be able to cut a curve with this one. Okay, so because those 2 are quite similar, it's very easy for us to eliminate them, and it is saw B. Now, some people, if they didn't get the correct name for this, I still give you the mark if you wrote B in here. But the correct term is a coping saw. Okay? And the reason for it, the coping saw is designed to cut curves in wood. And they were both worth 3 marks each, and that was a lovely 6 marks for that question. Part D. So now we're into the safety. List 2 specific safety precautions that should be observed if using saw A above. Okay, so saw A is up here. And 2 specific safety precautions would be keep hands away from cutting line. Never force a saw blade. So a lot of you, if you might have experienced it with the coping saw, if you force a saw blade, it's very, very thin and it will snap. Okay, with saw A, so that's the one I'm talking about, but if saw A, with the one that they're asking the question, if you force that down, you're going to bend the teeth, but it also might slip in the wood, which will cause an injury. The teeth should be sharpened and set regularly. Okay, I also accepted, some people said safety goggles or an apron. There was a range of things. With this ... it is up to the marker's discretion, and depending on your answer, you may have achieved some marks for that. So that whole question was out of 40 marks. Okay, so 40 down here. So on the bottom of your page of the first question, you should see a little number around here, and that is what you got out of 40. But again, you can just count them up yourself if you wish. So, question 2. Now, I'm going to zoom this out a little bit. So, the image shows a salad serving bowl with spoons, which are made from wood. A. Using a neat freehand sketch with notes to communicate your idea, design an attractive small unit to hold a serving bowl and spoons on a kitchen table. Now, there's a couple of key words here that when you're going through these questions in your Real Junior Cert, you need to underline. So, neat freehand sketch with notes. If you give me a sketch and no notes, you automatically have your marks. If you give me notes and no sketch, you do the same. To communicate your idea, design an attractive small unit to hold a serving bowl and spoons on a kitchen table. So it must sit on a kitchen table. If you drew a kitchen table, you do not get any marks. That is not a new design idea. So what I'm going to do for this question is I'm actually going to show you 2 exceptional answers that I got that both got the full 15 marks. And to be quite honest, if I could have given more marks, I would have. So, first one. This answer was exceptional. Okay, absolutely outstanding. They have 3D sketches, very nicely labelled. They've shown how it would be hinged together. They've shown the spoons, the bowl is here, and they've also given me notes. So this student has actually went above and beyond with this question, and they absolutely got full marks for it. Another excellent example was this student here. They also got the full 15 marks. They have done a small unit, drawn it, but they've also done this little exploded view, okay, with labels and notes. Completely outstanding. Okay, really, really, really good, and an excellent level for other people. Maybe you might be looking at your sketch and thinking, mine's not that standard. Well, this is where you need to be. Okay, this is where you need to aim to achieve so that you can get your full 15 marks. Some people might have given me a sketch and I might have given you 6. Okay, if you got 6, so I'll show you actually the marking scheme. So if you got 6, it was a basic unit without any design feature, sketch only. So anywhere between 6 and 9 was a fair attempt to design an attractive, suitable unit, and it included some notes. From 9 to 12 was a good, well-balanced, well-sketched design, showing some innovative and creativity. Okay, and then from 12 to 15, there were quite a few students who got between the 12 and 15. Only very, very few students within the 3 classes that I teach got full 15 marks. A quality 3D sketch of an original, innovative and creative design. The sketch must be rendered or shaded and include relevant notes. So you can see, why do I always harp on to you guys about colour? Presentation is key. They are giving you marks for your presentation. Okay? If I was an examiner in June and I look at the likes of this page, I automatically think, whoa, okay, that student has really thought out this question, they've really thought out the sketches, they have added notes in, and it is innovative, okay, and it is also creative. So, also, I put a wee note down here, I've already mentioned it, but sketches must be in 3D, okay? 2D sketches, you're not in primary school anymore, okay? You might have got away with 2D sketches in first year, but 3D sketches, okay, it won't be accepted. So, part B of question 2. Now, this was the question that a lot of people maybe struggled on. Some people got full marks on it, okay? It all depended, and it showed me, because there's a PowerPoint that I've had on Teams since November that shows you the exact step-by-step of how you would set a piece up on the lathe. And this was the question here that made me know, or made me realise who studied, who looked at the notes, and who has done revision. Because if you didn't look at the PowerPoints, you wouldn't know this. But if you did, you got full marks. So there was a massive difference, and to be honest, it was between, this question was the difference between people passing and people not passing. Okay, because there's a lot of marks. So, the image on the left shows the block of wood. This block is to be wood turned to form a solid bowl as shown on the right. With the aid of notes and freehand sketches, describe 3 steps needed to prepare the block for mounting on the lathe. So what we're going to do, again, and I want you to do this with me when you're doing your corrections, is with the aid of notes and neat freehand sketches, describe 3 steps needed to prepare the block for mounting on the lathe. Some people give me 3 steps of how you would turn this, but I am looking for the 3 steps of how you would prepare. Sorry, I just went out of focus for a minute. Okay, so I'm looking for the 3 steps of how you would prepare the block for mounting. So, step 1. Join the corners, diagonals, to find the centre of the wood. Draw a circle on the ends. Okay, so if you imagine you have this block of wood, what you would do is you're going to join up here and you're going to join up here. Now, wherever those lines cross over, that is your centre point. And from that centre point, you're going to get a compass and you're going to draw a circle. And that is going to give you the guide when you're on the lathe of the exact size and shape you want to achieve. Step 2. Mark out the corners that will be removed. So, how do we mark out the corners? If I had a little circle going like this, what do we do when we have waste material on a piece of wood? We do little X's, okay? So if you had a piece of wood like this, and I had a circle, you have your centre point in here. These bits here, you're going to X out, okay? So all you had to do was show me how you would identify what pieces or what parts of the block of wood were going to be removed. And then step 3, Plane the corners off to form a roughly octagonal shape. Okay, so 3 marks for each step, and there was 2 marks per sketch, and that question was a total of 15 marks. There were quite a few, I think there was maybe 5 or 6 people who got all 15 right, and then there was not really much in between. You either got it really wrong or completely right. Now, part C. The image shows a wood turn lathe which is to be used to turn a salad bowl. From the following list, now some people didn't read this question. You turn the page, you've seen the box and you've seen the labels, and you just thought, oh, I'll give this a go. But if you actually read the question, it says, from the following list, identify each part of the lathe. The answers are here. All you had to do was fill them in. So, part A was the 2 rest. Part B was the banjo. Part C was the hand wheel. Okay, so part C is over here. And part D was the bed. This is the bed. This A was the 2 rest, and B was the banjo. Okay, now that was all worth 12 marks. So it was 3 marks each for those labels that were already given to you. So if you didn't get those right, you were throwing away marks. Suggest a suitable applied finish for the salad bowl. Give 1 reason for your choice of finish. Now, the amount of people that got this wrong because they didn't read the question. Give 1 reason for your choice of finish. Okay, if I could put that in bold, I would. Writing down sanding or filing is not a finish. Finishes: mineral oil, beeswax. Any of these oils was worth 2 marks, okay? I even accepted varnish. Reason: if you're creating a food bowl, it's like creating a cup, right? If you're going to drink out of that cup, if you're going to eat out of that food bowl, it has to be food safe. So it cannot be a toxic finish. Paint: anyone who wrote paint for this, yes, it's a finish, but it's not a safe finish for food because it's toxic. So you actually got that wrong. The reason basically I was looking for was gives a non-toxic food safe finish. Okay? And that was worth 3 marks. That whole question was worth 50 marks. Now, question 3. So, seasoning. Now, what I would do, like I said before, I knew from this question as well, who had studied, who had looked at the notes. As well, I'm not sitting making PowerPoints all the time and notes for you to catch up on the last 2 years or whatever you've missed from COVID, whether you did the work at home. I don't know, I wasn't there, I wasn't your teacher, okay? But I'm giving you the work now. If you don't go and do it yourself, I physically don't have time in class time until I get the projects done, okay? If you aren't doing this revision yourself at home, you won't know this stuff. The PowerPoint on seasoning, if you had looked at it, you would have got this question full marks, and you would have found this very easy. But from the people who I've seen didn't study, found this question very hard or left it out. So I want everybody to fill it in fully. The image on the right shows a method of seasoning timber. What is the correct name for the seasoning method shown? This is air or natural seasoning. So that was worth 4 marks. If you wrote air seasoning or natural seasoning, you got 4 marks. Part 2. What happens during the seasoning process? So this was worth 6 marks. Some people give me a lovely sketch, which was worth 4 marks, and they give me little labels and bullet points. That was excellent. I think only a couple of people got full marks in this part B of the question, but the ones who did, you did it very well, okay? Boards are placed on bricks and beams to allow air to circulate freely around the stack and to rise the stack off the ground. The sloping roof protects the wood from direct sunlight and rain. Stickers are placed between the boards to allow air to flow around each plank of wood, helping them to dry. Now, stickers, okay? Again, if you looked at the PowerPoint, you'd know what a sticker was. It's not a sticker that you get in the dentist if you've been good. A sticker is a small little piece of wood, like this, and it is basically placed as a spacer or a divider between each plank of wood that is being seasoned. Part B. 2 advantages of seasoned timber over unseasoned timber. Seasoned timber is lighter, stronger. So, by the way, just to give you a little breakdown, if you give me any one of these words, you got 3 marks. So lighter, stronger, harder, more stable, easier to work with, better at taking adhesives, finishes and preservatives, more resistant to fungi attack. And that was worth 6 marks. One other method of seasoning, we have kennel or progressive or artificial seasoning. Okay, a lot of people put down kennel seasoning, and that was worth 5 marks. A lovely, easy 5 marks. Now, this table here, I think there was 3 or 4 students who got this table completely right. And again, I keep saying it, but this exact table is in the PowerPoint. So, seasoning name, air seasoning, and we have kennel seasoning, and we are basically showing the question asked is what are the differences between them. Compare the 2 methods of seasoning under each of the following headings. So, MC, okay? If you've done your revision, you would have known that that stands for moisture content. So, air seasoning has a minimum moisture content of 18%, whereas kennel seasoning has a moisture content of 6 to 8%. Duration is very slow, takes up to a year to dry, 25 millimeters. It's quicker, 25 millimeters can be dried in a matter of hours or days. Defects, the ends split or more susceptible to drying defects, so that is your cupping and your warping. The cost, the air seasoning is obviously inexpensive because it's natural, whereas the kennel seasoning takes a lot of energy, so it is more expensive. For each one of those you got correct, you got 1 mark. Okay? Now, part D. The ends of the planks tend to split during the seasoning process. With the aid of notes and freehand sketches, describe one method of preventing this. So, a method of presenting this, by the way, just for this question, along with the PowerPoint on Teams, what I'm going to do is upload a little video from the JTC website, and it is all about seasoning. I will play it in class next week as well, but just in case there's anybody off, or if you think you know you're going to be off next week, make sure you look at this video. I'm going to link it in the general announcement section of Teams. So, protect plank ends. Cover with fabric, paint or varnish, fixing a metal or wooden cleat, okay, and this will protect the end from splitting. If you give me one of those, you got 2 marks, and if you give me a little sketch, you got 2 marks for that. Part 2. Typical rainforests are being cut down at an alarming rate. Give 2 examples of how manufactured boards may help lessen the destruction of our rainforests. So, example 1. Reduce the need for tropical hardwoods, providing an alternative to solid wood by using wood from managed forests, thinnings and waste, recycled timber. By using veneers to give the effect of real wood, manufacturing boards or can be used also, or used mostly soft woods. Okay, so if you were to use a soft wood or a manufacturing board but had an oak veneer or any hardwood veneer over it to give you that look, it is a lot cheaper for you, but it's also a lot better for the environment. If you give me 2 reasons, you got 3 marks each. For part 3, it says use a neat freehand sketch. So again, neat freehand sketch with notes. Describe the manufacturing process for one type of manufactured board. So the 3 types of manufacturing boards that you could have possibly, all you had to do was select one of these. So you had plywood, chipboard or laminated wood. What I want you to do was to give me 2 or 3 of these bullet points for each, and then also give me a drawing or a sketch for each of those. The sketch was worth 3 marks, and if you give me 2 reasons, you got 2 marks each for those, which accumulated up to 4 marks. And that whole question was out of 50. Question 4. So, the image on the right shows a cross section through a tree trunk. Name the parts of the cross section labelled A, B and C. Now, you would have done this question since probably first year. Okay? If you didn't do it in first year, you need to go back over it. Get your textbooks out, get your workbooks out, and you need to be doing these questions. Okay? Whether you did them or not, doesn't matter. Do them now. Okay? You have 3 months, now's your chance. Don't waste it, and don't sit back and think, oh, we didn't do this. Quite frankly, the examiner's not really going to care about that. You have the time now to do it, you need to do it. Part A. Okay, you have bark. So this outer ring here is the bark on a tree trunk. Part B is the medullary ring, or ray, sorry. Okay, so that is the ray. And then C is the growth or annual ring. So if you ever maybe heard of people saying when they cut down a tree, oh, count the rings. You count the rings, it'll tell you how old the tree is. So for each ring there is, that equates to a year. Okay, so each one of those was worth 2 marks. Now, part B. The image shows a tree. State one function of each part of the tree. We have the crown, the trunk and the roots. So, the crown holds leaves up to the sunlight. Okay, so this is the crown here, and it holds the leaves up so that they can get the sunlight. The trunk is for stability. This is here, it's obviously holding the trees up. And the roots are the anchor in the ground. Okay, so obviously the roots we can't see, they're below ground. They are anchoring the tree there. Part 2. A lot of people got this right. It's very good. The image shows the germination of a tree seed. From the list below, identify the stages labelled A, B and C. Okay, so first one was C, over here. The seed was A, and this one here was B. Okay, they were all worth 2 marks each. There you go. 2 marks. Now, for part B. The image shows trees growing in a managed forest. Explain the main difference between a managed forest and a natural forest. So, there was some very good answers for this, and a lot of you did very well. A lot of you got your full 8 marks. Some people maybe got about 4 or 5 marks. You were hitting some things, but you maybe didn't elaborate on them, okay? But what I was looking for was trees of mainly same age as opposed to different ages, trees of mainly same type as opposed to variety of trees, spacing. So if you mentioned, obviously managed forests are equally spaced, every tree is equally spaced, and when a tree is cut down, 3 are planted. Replanting and management of trees in managed forests, etc. So any variation of that, there was a lot of very good answers, and you achieved your 8 marks. I wasn't concerned about that question at all. 2 characteristics of deciduous trees. Now, you had 2 marks for the sketches, and again, colour is key, and 3 marks for the notes. So, deciduous trees lose their leaves in the autumn. Seeds are surrounded by a fruit. The trunk is an uneven shape and branches. The leaves are broad. The wood is hardwood. The tree shape is often rounded and irregular. Do not tolerate extreme climatic cold. Deep root system. Branches are not flexible, etc. Okay. Part C. So, the image shows coniferous trees being felled to logs in a forest. These logs are then converted into planks of wood. Give 2 reasons why logs are converted into planks of wood. To get timber into a more usable size, so timber can be seasoned properly. To access the quality of the wood for defects, okay? So if you have a big tree trunk, okay, it's like this, but if you have them sliced into planks, it's much easier for us to see if there's fungal infections, to see, for us to, even the big planks of wood, so you see me cutting on the circular saw in the workshop, they are all planks of wood that have come from trees. If I got them in a big massive block, how would I cut that in a workshop? Or how would you make projects, okay? So they're more manageable and they're easier to use. Now, the image on the right shows a method of timber conversion. Name this method. So the name of this method is quarter sawing. And how you can remember this is, if you look at the line going down here and down here, what is the part-time shading here? If you have a full circle, we're going to maths here. If you had a full circle, how much of the circle is the shaded part? Quarter, okay? Quarter sawing, you got 4 marks. Part 3. Name and describe one other method of conversion. So if you give me through and through or tangent sawing, that was worth 2 marks. You give me any relevant advantage. So for the through and through, you get larger pieces of wood. So basically a little small sketch of that for you would be, sorry, it's not very neat. And a little tip, I'm obviously not being a very good example here, you should always draw in pen, or pencil, sorry. Okay? Okay, never draw in pen, always draw in pencil. You give me any wee sketch like that to show the wood, and the advantage would be that you get larger planks of wood, okay? Or you could have said an advantage is there's very little waste to that. A lot less waste to this through and through rather than quarter sawing. And the sketch was also worth 2 marks. Okay, so remember, always draw on pencil, and can't remember the other thing I said there, but yeah, anyway, right. Question 5, okay. Now, carving. You all carved, and I know that for a fact, okay. You probably did 2 or 3 projects in carving. This should have been a full marker question for absolutely everybody. The image shows a design for a small farmhouse tabletop. Name the method of carving. And that was incised carving. Okay? Now, I have circled these 2 questions for a reason. When I was marking, they were very poorly done. Okay? So, name one method of carving. Name one other method of carving. That is chip carving, relief carving, or wood sculpture. 4 marks. B. A lot of people got this correct. Name 2 solid woods suitable for carving. You had lime, beech, mahogany, oak, walnut, pine, apple, cherry, pear, plum, sycamore, teak, birch, elm, cedar, holly, elder, or horse chestnut. Okay, you give me any 2 of those, you got 3 marks. Now, this question here, people did not read the question. Suggest a suitable, clear finish for the carving of the bull. Give 2 reasons for your choice of finish. Okay, so if you give me the finish, it was worth 3 marks, and any 2 reasons worth 3 marks each. So a suitable finish, mark for any suitable clear applied finish. Lacquer, varnish, wax or oil, they are all clear. You would have got 3 marks. And the reasons for that is reasons appropriate to the selected finish: appearance, ease of application, durability, protection, non-toxic. Okay, remember the question, it's for a dinner table, or tabletop, sorry. For a tabletop, it has to be non-toxic if there's food going to touch it. Part C. The image shows a piece of wood for a tabletop and a sheet of paper with a bull design. Describe using notes and neat-hand free sketches 2 of the steps required to transfer the bull outline from the sheet of paper to the piece of wood. So, the steps. Each step was worth 6 marks. And for a sketch accompanied with it, it was worth 2 marks. So this part of the question was worth 16 marks. Some people didn't even bother to answer it. So they're throwing away marks, which is just silly. Step 1. Tape the drawing to the wood. A sheet of carbon paper may now be placed between the wood and the drawing. Step 2. You now trace over the original drawing with a pen or a pencil. Some people give me the step-by-step of how you would carve the wood. But what the question asks is 2 of the steps required to transfer the bull outline. Okay, you need to read the question or you won't hit the marks. Question, part D, the last one. We have name the joint. This is a cross-halving joint here, 4 marks, and design a poster. So the poster was design a poster to explain how the waste is removed from the trench shown at A. Use the poster, include 3 tips that should be followed when removing the trench. I'm actually going to show you a sample of a student who got 7. Now, this was excellent. The only improvements to these two students, so this was one poster here, okay, and they got a full 7 marks. As you can see, they've got the title, the halving joint, they've got top tips, okay, in little circles. So saw waist side of the line, make straight cuts along the waist, use a sharp chisel to remove the trench. This prevents injury and makes the task easier. They have a clear step-by-step. The only tip I could give that student, they achieved the full marks anyway, but for presentation purposes, the only tip I would give would be add colour. Okay, another excellent one was this one here. And they have again laid out very clearly in the steps of exactly how you would remove the trench. Okay, so they were some of the exams were absolutely excellent. Very, very impressed. Very clear to see some people are doing studying. Keep it up. Keep making your way through those PowerPoints and making your notes out. If anybody does have any questions on the exam, don't be afraid obviously to ask me. You're more than welcome to look through this video before I give you your exams back. What I will be doing is I'll be giving you basically your exams back this week coming. So when we get back from midterm, you're going to go through this video, you're going to stop it, pause it, and you're going to do your corrections. If you have any questions when you're doing the corrections and watching this video, bring them into me in class. I would rather you know exactly what you have to do. If you know exactly what you have to do for each of these questions in the mark paper, you're on a really good track for your junior cert. Okay? If anybody is struggling with revision, or if you're struggling, maybe you're thinking, well, I've actually never studied properly before, I don't know how to study. I will be doing little lunchtime classes for anybody who's really struggling and willing to come. I'll be doing lunchtime classes. It'll be a mixture of, obviously we'll be doing woodwork like content, and we'll be doing study, but it will be more how to study effectively and study tips. Okay, so I am not sure what day I'll do it, maybe on a Wednesday at lunchtime, but that class will be on for any third year student that I have. So if anyone has any questions, you can also just drop me an email or come into me in class. Okay, I hope you have a lovely midterm and enjoy the rest of it.